My evil Bond villain lighting. So we're just driving from Bukhara to Samarkand. We had yesterday to explore Bukhara and really have a good look around. It's a very different place to Khiva. Khiva is much more compact. It's all in the Chankala, the ancient city walls, and there's so many madrasas, museums, and mausoleums to see in a confined space that it's overwhelming sometimes. There's so every corner, every place you look around. Whereas Bukhara is maybe a bit more spread out. There's more parks. It feels more roomy, more airy. And there's maybe a bit more variety, such with the Summer Palace, which was built in, I think, 1917. And then obviously the Bolsheviks came in 1920, so it only really lasted for 3 years, but it's a very different architectural style, so it's really nice to see that as well, mixed in with obviously all the amazing madrasas and incredible caravanserai, so it's really cool. The cuisine's a bit different as well, so maybe a bit more variety in there. But I think Bukhara had maybe over 300 madrasas originally, so a lot of the buildings you go to, so you have restaurants. Last night I was eating in Joy restaurant, and it struck me halfway through the meal that I was actually eating in an old madrasa, and there was a band playing kind of traditional Uzbek music throughout the evening, until they started playing a Cornish sea shanty, which was a bit of a curveball, but it was very cool, really nice to listen to, but a little unexpected. On the way to Samarkand, we've stopped at Gidjavan, which is the home of the pottery in Bukhara. Originally there were maybe 20 families who would do pottery, but the Soviets banned it, so only one family kept the tradition alive, and they currently run a really interesting kind of pottery school for tourists, admittedly. There are tour buses turning up, and they can see in high season 200 people coming through. Even today, in November, off season, there were 2 tour buses whilst I was there. But weirdly, it doesn't necessarily take it away from anything away from that. I still got to have a go at making some pottery and painting. I think I'll stick with working on holiday companies. I'm not the most gifted in crafts, I would say, but really fun to get on, have a go, and the people are very welcome, very open, so you don't feel strangely like a tourist, even though there's 2 tour buses outside. We've started our sightseeing in Samarkand. First site is Ulugbek Observatory. Ulugbek was Tamerlane's grandson. It's quite an impressive family history when you look around and see how the different generations have gone on to create the Mongol Empire. We've got Ulugbek here with his observatory, who was able to calculate the length of a year using this, and compared to modern standards, I think he was 1 minute and 2 seconds out, which is unforgivable, but it's very impressive for the period he was doing that in.
So we can see the full area of Afrosiab fortress. Afrosiab means surrounded with black water. Afro or atrof is surrounded. Siop is the black water from Persian language. So the black water is going around, as you see. And this is the archaeological museum called Afrosiab, and the current location of Varhuman's palace from 7th century AD. And right after this, our next destination is Shahizindan necropolis, where the cousin of Prophet Muhammad is buried.
So if you've been to the British Museum and seen the wall hangings, the frescoes from Afrosiab, you'll recognise this room. Behind me is the fresco that's currently in the British Museum, which is being returned after the exhibit finishes. But all around you can see the original frescoes, and in the video you see at the museum it explains really well the importance of these frescoes. And also over here you can see the message, well you can't see, but there is the text on there which is explained in the video about how he's an envoy for his master visiting the king here. But amazing to see, and these were excavated in 1970. So the music's just died away, but you can still see the light show at Registan Square. And as you can see, it's 8:30 at night, and there's not really many people around. So in the daytime, quite a bit busier, but even in the evening, I think a lot of people are out having dinner. So if you can maybe have an early dinner and come out here and see this, I think it's as lovely as the food is in Samarkand. It's a little bit more special, and something you won't forget.